All right, good morning. I will now call to order the Monday, March 18, 2024, 7:30 a.m. Town Council meeting. If you would, please stand and join me with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Up first on the agenda is the approval of the March 4th, 2024 Town Council meeting memoranda. A copy's been posted. Are there any questions from councilors? I'll make a motion to approve the March 4th meeting memoranda.
Second.
A second from Councilor McElderry. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. With 5 in favor, 0 opposed. Up next is the approval of the March 18th, 2024 claims. Are there questions from councilors?
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. President, I have one question.
Sure.
And this may be I don't know if this is a finance department question or a parks question, but on page 25, APV number 6161, it says possible duplicate will research, and it's a $200,000 claim. And I was just kind of wondering if I get some insight as to what that's all about.
I have the answer to that. So when we were trying to close out 2023, we had some 21, 22 items that we still haven't been able to find. Baker Tilly suggested that we make that adjustment so that we were able to close it out. We will research that and we will try to find it, but that's what their suggestion was so that we could get closed out.
Okay.
So do we leave it in there but not call it a claim, or?
It's not technically something that we've paid out. It's just something that we had to put in there just to get our numbers to coincide.
So Mia, is there, so you said it's not something we've paid out yet?
We're not going to pay it out. It's our numbers weren't jiving for 2021 and 2022. So we just simply went in and did a manual adjustment so that we could close out.
So it's going to show as a prior period adjustment, basically.
Yeah, and that's why we put that we will research it. We think that it was a duplicate entry, so we're just trying to find time to look into that.
Out of curiosity, what if it's not a duplicate entry? By us approving these claims, does it automatically approve the payment if it's required?
It will reverse it at that time. If we find that there's something going on with it and we need to correct it, we'll reverse it and we'll bring it to your attention.
So the problem in the audit world is a number that balances could actually be 2 million on the debit side and 2,200,000 on the credit side. So can we approve without approving that?
Yeah, I mean, what's the impact
I guess it doesn't do anything to your checkbook.
Doesn't do anything. It actually made our fund balance when we made this adjustment. So we will look into it in the next probably couple weeks.
I definitely think it should be noted that we know about the number and that we recognize that's not something that we're paying out.
Well, I guess my question, Mia, would be what if it's going to be figured out in the next 2 weeks, what's wrong with us just approving claims without this and then just put it on there again in 2 weeks? Can we do that?
You can do that if you like.
Yeah.
Let's just do that.
I would agree with that. Are there any other questions from councilors?
I do. I have two other just smaller questions. Mia, I saw that the overhead door repair was for garage number 4, and I saw the amounts in 2 different funds, and it made me wonder, do you split expenses? Is that once I see something that says it was a possible duplicate, it made me go, wait, I remember there was a duplicate amount.
They do split between funds. If you can tell me what page number those are on.
I think it was page 7 and page 16. It's just for door number 4. It was listed in both, so it just made me want to make sure that it wasn't input twice or if it was a split.
Page 7 and page what? I'm sorry.
16. It says overhead door repair, garage number 4. I don't know. And I wasn't sure how expensive overhead door were for the town, it seemed. But it was the exact amount. That's the only reason I bring it up.
I need to look into that one because I do see it is the same exact amount. And it's coming out of the same line. The only thing I could say is that one is coming from DPW, and the other one is coming from facilities.
Right.
So I would probably say we need to look into that one.
Okay, yeah, I would think that maybe just in case it was a duplicate, but also that feeds into what Joe and I had asked for, which Cindy said she was going to be working on. But John, that's when we were saying it would make a lot of sense for us to understand the funds, just having information more than just the number, so that I could see, oh yeah, that's something that normally splits or whatever. But yeah, if we could look into the possible duplication of that. The other one was I saw an amount for VS Engineering for Oak and 800's roundabout. And it just got me thinking, how much more is coming on that roundabout? Are we close to finalizing the expenses that were related to that? Do we still have ongoing projects with that? Oh, and Lance isn't here, so that's fine.
Lance is not here.
That was like an $11,000 engineering cost. And I'm wondering at what point are we done engineering that roundabout? And since that, it was listed as a May expense, a March expense, so.
I cannot answer the question on how much more there is left
sorry.
on that one. I'm sorry.
Those are just the things I kind of delved deeper into, along with Evan's point.
Are there any other questions from counselors? Otherwise, I would entertain motions.
Since I was the one asking so many things, I make a motion that we approve the claims for March 18th, 2024, but that we withhold approval on the reconciliation number of $218,983 and
On the parks bond disbursement.
on the parks bond disbursement and the possible duplication of the overhead door expenditure of $4,649.
All right, I'll second that. First from Counselor Sampson, second from President Plunkett. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 5 in favor, 0 opposed. All right. Up next is the request to speak on agenda item. Amy, do we have any requests to speak?
No, we do not.
Okay, up next would be the Mayor Administration Update. We have Mayor Stair with us this morning. Good morning.
Morning, everyone.
Morning.
We're going to begin the administration update today by speaking to the comprehensive plan. We all had a bit of a long Saturday in this room, but we now have clarity on who's going to be helping us put together the comprehensive plan. I want to thank, first of all, Mike Dale. He did a great job organizing this event for us, and I want to thank everyone who gave up their Saturday afternoon to take part in it. HWC will now guide the comprehensive plan for the next 18 months or so. The next step will be settling on a steering committee that will oversee everyone's efforts. I'll be working with Mike on coming up with a list between 15 and 20 people to sit on that committee. We'll also get with our consultants to see how that committee can best be formed and how many subcommittees and what they will be doing as well. We will seek to pull in, obviously, a lot of different voices from all over the town, not just North and West Zionsville, but also different organizations that have a stake in the town's future development. This will include at least 2 counselors on the committee, and I will offer you regular updates so we can all be on the same page, and we will speak more about which counselors would be involved in that process from the front end. And speaking of clarity, we are getting closer in the planning to South Village. I think you're pretty much up to date on where we are in this process. The town-led PUD is in its final revision, and some of the planning pieces are really beginning to fall into place. So we will have a final version of that town-led PUD available by the end of the month. for consideration by the Plan Commission and then ultimately the council. Also, I plan to deliver the State of the Town address on March 27th upstairs in the St. Vincent room that will lay out more specifics on the overall South Village plan. This event is open to the public, and it will be streamed for those who have an interest but can't be here on that morning. And hopefully you will all be able to come or at least view it online as that takes place. It'll be first thing in the morning on March 27th.
What time is that?
I believe the event, it's the Chamber of Commerce annual event. It starts at 7:30. I figure I'll start talking about 8.
Thank you.
Also, you may have heard we had a power surge at Town Hall on March 6th due to an accident at 550 South Michigan near Lost Run Farms. Now, we do have a surge protection system here in the building. The building's relatively new, but it was a bit overwhelmed. And as you can see, there's an example of some of the charred wires that we had. We were fortunate that we didn't have a fire, actually, and that the damage wasn't worse. Our battery backup system helped protect the systems and the data, but we still have to replace equipment that was damaged, and we have an insurance claim for approximately $30,000 that we are working through now with our carrier. We didn't lose any data, so I'm happy about that, and all of our systems are back up and running once again, but this is a good argument as we move forward for a cloud-based data storage system, but that's something we can talk about as we go forward here.
Mayor, is there any opportunity in the future to prevent that? If another accident happened, would we have another power surge, or is there any way to protect against that?
Well, this was, as I understand it, and I'm not an electrician, it was an unusual power surge that I'm sure an electrician could explain it better, but normally a surge comes in one direction. This came around the back end, so it kind of got around our surge protection system. We would not anticipate this kind of surge to take place again, but we do have modern, up-to-date surge protection. We have all the best protections that are available. This one just kind of caught us. I guess it was a large surge, and it was an unusual kind of surge, and there you see the result right there.
You mentioned that you had the insurance policy protection. Does that at all circle around back to the accident? If it could be shown to be related to that, having their insurance pay, or is it directly have to come
That's
from
why
our insurance?
the insurance companies are working through it. So
Okay.
I'm sure our agent is having those discussions
Yeah.
as best we can. All right, the next item on the agenda that I have is finance. And I want you to know we've taken a deep dive into our American Rescue Plan Act, or ARPA, spending. As you know, the previous council gave us a roadmap on how that money was to be spent across all of our departments. All funds must be committed from the ARPA account by the end of 2024 and then out the door by the end of 2026. So we started with $6.4 million, and so far around $2 million has been spent, another $400,000 is committed, and that means we have a remaining balance of just over $4 million. So we will continue to monitor that ARPA account to make sure the money is being used as it was allocated, and we will do what we can to make sure our departments use it properly, and we do not have to return it because we're not meeting deadlines. So we are ahead of that, and hopefully by the last quarter we will have complete clarity on what has been spent, what is committed, and what still needs to be spent. Also, you have a resolution before you this morning that will come up a little bit later to appropriate additional funds of $1.9 million. I just want to point out, as you probably know, this is from the Ready 1.0 grant that was awarded for an engineering study on what was then known as the Gateway Project. Now, for clarity, the Gateway Project has now taken on a larger focus, which we are calling the South Village. But the money was appropriated in late 2023, but the contracts were not fully executed by the end of the year for a number of different reasons, so that needs to be reappropriated now. The money can only be used for this purpose, and this is not an additional expense to the town. Any questions on that? Okay. Well, let me go into the updates then. As you know, there has been ongoing concern over the intersection of 400 South and 875 East among council members and among some folks who live in the area. I recently met with Councilors McElderry and Norris to talk about this, along with DPW Director Lance and our engineers George Lewis and Alec Fair. Everyone in the room agreed that there are visual impediments in that area, including several utility poles, a large communications cabinet, some trees, and even some road signs that might be distracting to some drivers. There has been a higher than expected accident rate there, and DPW has responded by installing extra signage. Now, the accident rate has gone down since then, and they do not have any other plans for any future short-term changes. However, this has been on our radar, and the intersection is one of 21 identified in the recent road impact fee study that could meet the minimum warrants over the next 10 years that would call for a new traffic signal or roundabout to control the intersection. Now, normally this list is not ranked in an order of priority, but given the heightened concern over this intersection, I think it's reasonable at this point to prioritize it over some of the others. And the first step in that is to determine the cost. So to get that started, I asked the DPW to reach out to an engineering consultant of their choice to look at things like the cost of land acquisition and utility relocation in that area. Now, the town already owns the southwest quadrant of that intersection, which may be used for a future fire station. We're still trying to determine that. So the impact on public safety is going to need to be considered here too. We should have some numbers to look at in April, and I will report back to you when I get those numbers. One important point is that if we enter the construction phase on this intersection, we would be able to fund 100% of the construction through the Road Impact Fund, but getting there will take time. It is too early to put a time frame on it. Just know that it's on the radar, and I appreciate the interest from council members and also people who live in that area. Also, under updates, the golf course. I'm pleased to tell you this morning that we have reached an agreement with a local group to manage the Zionsville golf course. The group is calling itself Zionsville National, and its principals are local residents Pete Proust and Paul Kite. Golf course manager Mike Wall will continue in that role, as will all of the course's key employees. Now, the agreement is still under legal review. We hope to have that ready with the I's dotted and the T's crossed this week. But the highlights include this. All current season passes will be honored in full. There will be no change to any course fees in 2024 and only slight changes tied to the Consumer Price Index in odd-numbered years after that, so 25, 27, 29, et cetera. Schedules for all league play will remain the same. Both of our middle schools will continue to use the course for practices and matches. The summer camp schedule will remain the same. And the new operators plan to offer increased options in concessions and in the pro shop, as well as upgrading damaged areas, drainage areas that need attention at the course, and also facilities in collaboration with the Parks Board, which can provide matching dollars from the current golf course fund. The course did open this weekend, even though we're not fully signed, sealed, and delivered on this agreement yet. The course did open this weekend. It was a lovely day Saturday. They had a full tee sheet. As far as I know, everybody's happy, and the transition to the new management team will, I think, be pretty seamless once the agreement is signed. Does anybody have any concerns or questions about that?
Oh, I'm just relieved. Good
Me
choice.
too. And I know a lot of people are. Obviously, this is a high interest item. A lot of people really care about our golf course, and I agree. I think it's a gem for our town. Not many towns have a great 9-hole course like that, so we're pleased that it's going to move forward in a good way.
I was impressed with the amount of people that passionately wrote in emails and even text messages, so well done.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, and the final item, town dog. We have been gifted a therapy dog who is entering the room right now. She will be available to our employees in town hall and situationally in all of our other facilities. She will also be available to constituents as sort of a town ambassador at many activities throughout the year. Now, this pup is 18 weeks old. She has a very high level of training, including time in hospitals and schools as a service animal, and she has a Safe Citizen certificate, which is important to our insurance carrier. They'd like to see that for liability, so that's good news. She's also non-shedding and hypoallergenic. And Megan Ray, who works in our Parks Department as an event planner, will be her primary caretaker and handler. Now, I have specifically not given you her name because we haven't named her yet. I think the first thing we want to do is introduce her to town, have kind of a name the pup contest. We've been calling her girlfriend to this point. But this is a generous donation from a longtime Zionsville area resident. It'll be cost neutral to the town. And that's a good thing, because this is probably a $20,000 pup sitting here with all of her training and breeding and everything. So we are happy that she begins her tenure with us today. So we'll have a chance for everybody to say hello to girlfriend before you leave the room.
Do we know the breed? Is it a doodle of some type?
She's a Labradoodle, an
Labradoodle?
Australian Labradoodle.
The naming contest starts today on Facebook.
So Kate says the naming contest starts today on Facebook. So
We're
for all
gonna
those
get a
watching,
naming, we're gonna get a naming contest out there. We have a few ideas that people have suggested, staff have suggested, so
Yeah. Cool.
it'll be a Zionsville-centric name that she will emerge with, so.
Counselors also get therapy from the dog? Are we?
You are eligible, as a
Staff.
Zionsville resident, you are eligible to
Thank you
have
so much,
therapeutic
Mayor.
services from the pup.
You mentioned
Yeah.
that we get to walk her if we want, so.
She'll be available for walks along the trail during the day.
Excellent.
Is there anything else?
All right.
Or any questions?
I guess I'll just add real quickly, since I've been kind of a vocal proponent of any type of change at the 400 South 875 East intersection. Just thank you. Thank you for your willingness to listen. I know our residents I lived here for 20 years before I ever even drove through that intersection. So there's many people that probably don't know anything about it. But for the people that do live near it, it is a concern of theirs, and I'm glad that we're looking into things.
Yeah.
And I would just urge the public to please be patient. It does take a long time for something like this to happen. And in the meantime, we will monitor it, and if there's anything else that we can do in that time between when any type of corrective measures are made, we will do that. But I think this is just a wonderful example, again, of the type of collaboration that's happening between the council and the mayor and your staff. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate you saying that, and we'll certainly keep moving forward in that direction. Thank you. All right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Up next on the agenda are council updates. Are there any updates from councilors? All right, moving on to old business. The first item on old business is in consideration of an ordinance amending the 2024 salary ordinance. This is the holiday schedule, ordinance 2024-07. Councilors, you'll recall this is to adjust the holiday schedule for the April 8th eclipse. So are there any questions from councilors? Otherwise, I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve on final reading ordinance 2024-07.
Second.
We got a first from Counselor Norris, a second from Counselor Sampson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 5 in favor, 0 opposed. Up next is the consideration of an ordinance amending the Ready Grant Fund number. This is ordinance 2024-09. This is the final reading. Mayor Riley is here, Deputy Director of Finance, if we have any questions. Councilors, you'll recall that this was, at the last meeting, just simply a numbering issue with the Ready Grant funds that came through and just correcting the number on the docket. So are there any questions for Mia?
Just a minor question. I noticed on everything, including the actual paperwork, that it is referred to as the Gateway Project. I know we're now calling it the South Village. Do we need to keep it the Gateway Project in all of our documents because that's how it was initiated?
The way we have it set up is it says Ready Grant. So probably for spending purposes, we may change it to South Village, but for fund purposes, it's going to be referred to as a Ready
Just the Ready
Grant.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions from councilors? I would entertain a motion.
I move to approve ordinance 2024-09.
Second.
I got a first from Counselor Stein, second from Counselor Sampson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 5 in favor, 0 opposed. Sorry about that, Tim. I didn't mean to throw this on the table. Moving on to new business. We have the consideration of a resolution regarding the appropriation of additional funds. This is Ready Grant Resolution 2024-09. We have Mia here to answer any questions. Mia, just for clarity, I guess this is just another step, right? So the last meeting and then this meeting, we passed the ordinance to change fund number. Now we have to get the money out of that fund number. This is not a new expense. This is just simply checking boxes.
No, and you guys did approve this last year.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, there was no spending, there were no contracts in place, so we couldn't encumber the funds. So we're just simply asking again to be able to spend it.
Yeah. Let's see. All right, so this is a public hearing. I have proof of publication of the public notice of the public hearing. At this point, I'll open the public hearing. If there's any members of the public who would like to speak. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Are there any other questions for Mia? Otherwise, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2024-09.
We have a first from Counselor Norris,
Second.
a second from Counselor McElderry. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 5 in favor, 0 opposed. Up next are other matters. Are there any other matters from counselors?
Just with the spring break schedule, when our next meeting,
Tuesday, April 9th
April 9th.
at 7 p.m.
And the town hall will be closed on the 8th because we deemed it a holiday.
Yep, I believe so.
Hope to see everyone at Mulberry Fields for the big town event that day. So on April 8th, the eclipse.
All right, anything else from counselors? I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
A second from Counselor Stein. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes 5 in favor, 0 opposed. The next regular town council meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, April 9th, 2024 at 7 p.m. in the Zionsville Town Hall Council Chambers. Please note the switch-in days due to spring break and the solar eclipse holiday. Final notice will be posted in compliance with the Indiana Open Door Law. Thank you.